A very good morning to all my dear 5th class students. As you know that we have been practicing some questions from the chapter related to animals, right, and their adaptations, etc. So today I have few questions for you. Let me see if you can answer them. Okay, let's start. The first one, webbed feet is an example or is an adaptation in. So webbed feet, some birds have webbed feet which helps them for, what is the function of webbed feet here, children? The function is basically to swim easily, isn't it? So let us see if any of these birds have webbed feet or not. Aerial birds, that means the birds which fly. Do they require webbed feet? Reptilian birds, those which have scales, they also don't require. Aquatic birds do require because they need to swim. So can you name some aquatic birds, children? Yeah, the seagulls or simply the duck or the swans, isn't it? So all of these have webbed feet. And D, ostrich. So we don't have webbed feet and we don't find webbed feet in ostrich. So this is the right option. Second, which of the following animals breathe in the same way as a fish? In order to answer this question, you need to understand how a fish breathes. We all know that a fish breathes with the help of their gills, isn't it? So here, instead of directly giving you the question, he has just given you in an indirect manner. It's such an easy question, but what has he given? So which of the following animals breathe in the same way as a fish? That means fish breathe through gills, and in the same way, which animal breathes through gills? That is the question. Prawn, caterpillar, whale and worm. So we all know that, caterpillar, whale has lungs, caterpillar again has, spiracles, even worm has spiracles or, mainly spiracles. That means small pores through which they breathe. The insects and the worms, actually they have they breathe through their small holes which are present all over their body. But prawn has gills which helps it to breathe. So prawn and fish both breathe through gills. So prawn is the correct option. Let's go to the third one. Traveling long distances to avoid hardship of winter. So some animals, they try to move or migrate, or what you call, they travel long distances in order to avoid the hardships of winter. They can't survive in such cool environments, and because of that, in a particular season when the temperatures become so low that they can't live or survive, then when they feel it, they just migrate it, or what you call, they travel to longer distances. And what is that called? Is it adaptation? Do they adapt to the cold environment? No. Is it hibernation? Winter sleep? Here they are just sleeping, they are not traveling long distances. Estivation, summer sleep? No, this is also wrong option. Migration. Some birds like Arctic tern, they travel to very long distances, miles together, hundreds of miles together they travel, and again come back once the temperatures are all set. Read the information given for animal X. Now these kind of questions also will be asked in Olympiads, children. Just to confuse you, the question will be so simple. Only thing is that you have to understand the question well. Then the options are very, very easy to handle. Read the information given for animal X. It eats plants. Now that animal X eats plant, that means it is a herbivore. It gives birth to young ones. It does not lay eggs. Instead, it gives birth to young ones directly and feeds them with milk. That means it should be a mammal. Right, children? It is a mammal. And what is the diet nutrition here? It is a herbivore. So now tell me, what could be the animal X? Is it a fox? Yeah, these two are same. It gives birth to the young one, it feeds with milk. But does it eat plants? No. Tiger, again a carnivore. Lion, again a carnivore. So what is the correct option here? C, goat. It is a herbivore. Goat is a herbivore. It gives birth to the young one, and also it feeds its young one with its milk. The next one. Camels have thick leathery pads under their heels. So if you see that this is one of the adaptations of camel to survive in that hot desert, isn't it? So this helps them to, what is the real function, what is the actual function of this thick leathery pad under their heels? swim? Climb steep slopes? They are not like goats. Then none. So what is the correct option here? Walk in hot sand. As you know that the temperature would be soaring. It would be very hot in deserts, and because of which, we call camel as the ship of the desert. It easily walks through that hot sand. We cannot do it. So what is the reason? Because it has got very thick leathery skin under their heels. So it is one of the kind of adaptations to survive in such extreme weathers. Okay, weather climates, right? Okay, children. So let us see few more questions now. Let's see now 6th question. Why are scales important to the fish? Now what is the actual function of scales? Some fish have a scaly covering. They have a lot of scales. Have you seen a fish? A fish, it has scales covered. The bodies of some fish, it is covered with scales, right? So what is the actual function of these scales? Does it help in swimming? Usually the fins and the tail help in swimming, right? Not the scales usually. It helps in finding direction. No, it's not a compass to find directions. It helps in maintaining balance. The fins and the tail basically helps in maintaining the balance, not the scales. It helps in protecting the fish because the scales are very slimy and sticky and it gives a hard covering, a somewhat harder covering on the skin of these fish. That's why it is protective in function. It protects the fish. Match the following now. These kind of questions are very easy, but children make mistake in finding and opting the correct option actually. So these are very, very easy kind of questions. You simply have to write answers first and then you see whether your answer is matching any of the options or not. So aquatic, match the following. So aquatic, here you can see that certain habitats are given and some animals are given which live in those habitats. Okay. Aquatic, you can see tiger, it's not aquatic. Shark, yes. So first write down over here. P is B. Aquatic, shark. Terrestrial, that means land dwelling. Land, anything? You can see tiger is the right option. So Q, A. Aerial, that means which flies? Aerial, what are left now? Monkeys and hawks. So hawk is the right option. R, D. And S, arboreal, that means which live on trees. So arboreal, monkeys. Correct now? So S is C. So what did you get here? B, A, D and C. Any option has B, A, D, C? B, A, D, C. So option C is the right option here, children. Now one more tricky question over here. Let me see if you can answer this. An animal P feeds on Q, R and S. We don't know what is P, we don't know what is Q, what is R and S. For now, what is the first point? P feeds on Q, R and S. P is an animal because it's feeding. It feeds on Q, R and S. Now any more information is given? Let us see. Q and S. Now it's given about Q and S now. Q and S feed only on R. So again, Q and S also are animals which feed only on R, it seems. We don't know R, whether it's an animal or what. Okay. For now, what we understood, P is an animal which feeds on Q, R and S. Q and S also feed only on R. Now what is R? R is one of the Earth's natural resources. So it could be plants, children. If it is plants, because usually an animal cannot only depend on water or air, isn't it? So it should have something to get calories now. So what is it? It's nutrition. From where does it get? Any animal? Maybe plants. Let us just think that probably the natural resource is plant. If R is plants now, what are Q and S now? They are feeding only on plants. So what are Q and S? These are the animals which are feeding only on plants and plant products. So what are they? Herbivores. Q and S are now herbivores. Okay. Now what about P, children? P is an animal which is feeding on Is it feeding on Q and S? Yes, it feeds on Q and S. That means it is feeding on animals as well as R. What is R? R is the most probably, what did we think? It is plant with R. So, this P is eating both plants and animals. So, what are such animals called? Omnivores. So, we have got somewhat a riddle solved here. Q and S are herbivores, P is an omnivore, and R when R is plant. Okay, let us see now. Is P a carnivore, children? No, it's an omnivore because it is eating plants too. Q and S are omnivores. Are these omnivores? So you can see that they feed only on R is given. Only means they don't eat anything else. They eat only plants. So what are such animals called? Carnivores? No. Herbivores. So this is also wrong. Q is carnivore. Is Q carnivore, children? They are feeding on not on other animals. They are feeding on plants. So they are herbivores, not carnivores also. Is P an omnivore? Yes, P is an omnivore because it is feeding on the animals as well as plants. Okay. So such questions will be tricky. You need to learn or read them more than twice or thrice, and then only understand properly, come to a conclusion, come to a nice understanding, and then only choose the options. Okay. So that's all for today. In the next video, I'll be taking up another chapter. Okay. Thank you.